Hello and welcome to Artside Talk. My name is Diogo Landau. I'm the host of this podcast and I'm a visual artist from Portugal. And today I will be talking with Chicago-based artist Sergio Gómez. Not only an artist but also a curator, a gallerist. Hello Sergio, how are you?
Hi, Diego. I'm doing good, man. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here in the show today. Very excited to be with
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for accepting my invitation. So let's talk a bit about you and your artwork. You are an artist, but also a curator, a gallerist. You have the academy. You have the YouTube channel. So what comes first?
Well, I think, I used to think about, because sometimes like people would ask me, so, do you want to be remembered as a curator or as an artist or as a coach, and kind of like give them a category. And I never liked that categorizing things because then when you say, well, one is at the top, then as you put other things by default, something's going to be at the bottom, right? And the way I kind of look at my art career is like when I wake up in the morning as an artist, I love to do the things that I love, which is a combination of things. I love to go in my studio and make my art. I love to go live and do my videos. I love to help artists. I love to select artwork for shows and promote exhibitions and help artists sell their art. And I love all of them as much. It's kind of all combined. It's like one artist with with many roles, not even different hats, just kind of like
Yes.
different
But
roles because
how do you
I
manage it? How do you manage it? Because it's a lot of things, and most of them it's require periodic and almost daily work. How do you manage all that?
yeah yeah, that's a good question. I'm a bit of a workaholic. And so when I wake up in the morning, I wake up early, I do my exercise, my meditation and devotion, and then I think about okay, what is like the things that need to be done today in all the different areas. So it works for me that in my house here I have access to everything. So I have my video studio, I my computer is all I need to connect and do the things digitally. Then I have also a studio here where I can just walk into there, so I can do different things because the things have been arranged in a way that it can happen, so I can
Yes.
work in the studio for a bit, then while something dries, then I can go and work on the computer or, do a video and things like
But
that. So
you have to be very quickly to switch the brain. You have to be all the time switching. It's a powerful thing to be able to do that. And I want to talk about your artwork, to introduce your artwork to the public that might not know it. So, what I want to ask you is to do something that you taught me in the past, and that is to describe your artwork in 2 or 3 minutes to someone that never heard about you.
yes, of course, I'd love to do that. So my work, I always say, is about the cycles of life, and that kind of started when my first child was born. He's now 18, so 18 years ago, I discovered life in a new way, and that changed my life, changed my art. So I've been in the pursuit of understanding those cycles, childhood, and then adulthood, and then death, and then all over again, and also understanding our spiritual awareness throughout those cycles in life. So my artwork visually I work in paintings and drawings. I use the figure, the human body, but in an abstract form. So it's not specifically individual. So if I have a figure, you cannot tell, oh, that is Johnny or that's, or Mexican or Chinese. There are no specific characteristics, but you can recognize it as a human figure, which is becomes a universal language in that. And so that's kind of like over the last 18, 19 years, that's kind of what I've been focused on, and I continue excited still looking into those cycles.
Very, very well. And can you take me through your creative process, your daily day routine?
Yeah, so as far as like well, I see like we mentioned before, everything I see it all as
Yes.
creative, the videos and
Yeah, but I'm talking about
the
the
studio.
studio. Yes.
So in the studio, I don't work. For example, I don't have a specific kind of like rhythm. I like to work. Let's say I have an idea of something I want to do. So normally I work in series. So I have maybe about 4 or 5 pieces that I want to work on, and I set the materials out, get all my things out, and then I work on that series, and I put a lot of time on those days in which I'm starting the series to devote my mind and ideas into those series. So I may work, really hard on, for a number of days on those series, and then I slow down, then put more time, let's say, on the videos and other things, while I'm kind of thinking about, what the painting needs, what else,
Yeah.
what are the details, what needs
Letting
to
it
add.
grow.
Yes, exactly. So I'm very kind of the impulse. If I have this impulse, this urge, I gotta go and do it, and then I gotta step away, let it live for a while, so then I can go back and rethink the idea, fine tune it before it's done. That's kind of usually my process.
And you are usually jumping between large formats and small projects. That change is also by impulse, or it's something more planned.
Yes, yeah, you're totally right. I love the large scale painting. That's my favorite. That's kind of like my comfort zone. If I were to pick a size, I always pick large. But then many years I realized, well, as much as I love large, there's also a challenge in trying to make work that is not your normal, typical preferred format, which for me would be small size. So a few years ago, I decided, well, every so often I'm gonna do a series that is small, and so I've been doing that on and off. Where right now in my studio, actually, I just finished a large piece. Now, probably maybe next month or so, I'll do a series of smaller ones, right? And it just gives
Okay.
my brain kind of understanding space too, and how to manage my forms and my ideas in both scales.
I want to go a little bit into your past. How do you become to how art appears in your life?
So art, well, I was born in Mexico, right?
Yes.
And I grew up in Mexico City. In 1988, I came to Chicago, and I've always liked to draw since I was a kid. Since I was a child, I've always kind of wanted to do something with that. I thought I was going to be an architect when I was, growing up. But because in Mexico, I never met an actual living artist. When I went to museums, they
Okay.
were all dead. So I never really thought that you could be an artist until I came to the United States and went to high school. And my high school art teacher, I was probably 16, 17. He said, you should consider an art career. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, I think you have some talent. I think you should consider it. And that he started me to start thinking about art and pursuing it. And that kind of started my trajectory of, fine art.
Yeah, and the first years, how hard were they, and what have you done in terms of exhibitions and showing and promoting your work?
So early on, I've always been kind of entrepreneurial by nature. I like to start things. I like to move. I like to look for opportunities. So since I was a student, I remember, I would, this is before the internet, of course.
Yes.
So, back in, I don't know, early 90s, 92, 93, 94, something like that. You remember we used to get magazines with Art News, Art in America, all these art forum, all these magazines. So sometimes there might be a call for artists, or a friend would say there's a call for artists, or a postcard would arrive with a call for artists. And I started applying and getting into shows here and there. And that's kind of how my work began to be seen, is by just applying to things. And sometimes I was accepted, and most of the time I was rejected, but that's the way it was. And
Sergio, now you have a medium long career, but you have 45 solo exhibitions all over the world in US, Mexico, many countries in Europe. First of all, congratulations on the success. And my question is, it's getting easier, or you still have to chase it as almost the first years?
No, I think it's always hard. I think it never gets easy. Um, the part that gets easy is that you know now you have more work and you have a structure that makes things easier. Now you know how to ship things. Now you know how to package things. So there's a lot of things that you learn on the way that in that sense it makes it easier. But it's always a challenge, to find good opportunities for your work in all stages of your career, and also to challenge yourself as you continue to mature as an artist, to not to get stagnant or complacent, but to keep pushing yourself and keep finding opportunities that are going to challenge you as an artist. I think those are exciting, and those are always hard to find at all stages of your career.
Your artwork and your career took you through two different paths. One is the traditional art galleries. You have quite a lot of exhibitions in the US, Mexico, many countries in Europe, but you also have the social media and the internet as a potent tool to work and to show your artwork. I wanted to know how you balance those two elements, because they are very different and sometimes I think they collide a bit.
So I think right now we're in a situation where the gallery or museum or institution, either you change or you die, in the long run, in the next couple of years, because the world is changing, the whole system is changing, and as a gallery owner, if you refuse to change, eventually you're gonna be left behind, because galleries. If you look at the top galleries in the world right now, they are already doing like viewing rooms online. They're already doing a lot of things online that we're not doing before, just because the world has changed. So I think galleries who are like, well, this is just a fad, or this is just temporary. We're all going back to business as usual. They're not gonna last too long. We as I think as individuals we find sometimes when something works, you don't want to change it because it already works, right? Like a
Yeah.
video like this, right? So once you find your settings and your setup, you're like, okay, it works. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to change it, right? But eventually, this that works now, it gets old. And if you don't change, if you don't upgrade to what's new and what's working now, your better camera, better microphone, get left behind. And the same thing happens, in the gallery world and in every other system. And I think it's going to change as the next generation of gallery owners comes around, because the generation of gallery owners that's around right now, they all grew up before the internet, right? So that's what
Yeah.
most of them. So they're older, they're on the way out, most of them, right? So we have to look at, instead of trying to change, at least that's my philosophy, instead of trying to work really hard to explain to somebody who doesn't want to change, who's on the way out, who's going to retire pretty soon, I want to put my energy on the next generation that's coming in, and that understands the technology, that understands that it's a new world, and as you said, a new relationship between the artist and the gallery, and see what new gallery models are coming out right now that are not the typical gallery model that you and I grew up with.
Yeah. So talking about that, you have a gallery. You are a gallerist. Your gallery is called 33 Contemporary Gallery. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to open a gallery and how you are working with it and with the artists.
So 33 Contemporary began 15 years ago in 2004. When I finished school, I always, besides being the artist, I always have that entrepreneurial spirit, of starting things. And even when I was in school, I would start clubs and I would start activities. And, I always have that. And it makes me happy, right, too. So it's who I am. And so I always wanted to do that. And in 2004, I called some friends. There were four of us who said, "Hey, why don't we start a gallery together? We can have a studio next door, and we have a space where we can show our own work, and then invite other our friends, people that we know." And that's how it all started. So we started as a co-op space, where we split the rent at the beginning because none of us had list of collectors. We didn't know anybody. We were just young students, with big dreams, and that's how we started. And then slowly the gallery began to grow to the point that a few years later, 5 years later or so, I took ownership of the gallery and then started running it myself. And the way I run the gallery is I always think of the gallery as an evolving system. I don't want to marry a gallery into the typical idea of what a gallery may be. So it has
Mhm.
evolved and changed over the years. When we started, social media was only Facebook. It was really small. Internet was really small, and so as the world changes, and so does the gallery change. And we have done a lot of collaborations with other galleries around the world too, and projects and things like that. And so last year, before the pandemic came in 2019, I partnered also with a Poets and Artists magazine, who's a good friend of mine. She's an editor, Didi Menendez, and she already was working with a great, wonderful group of artists. So I wanted to also rebrand the gallery, give it a new focus, and really go 100% on the internet. So we had been talking about it for quite a while, but it was until last summer when I said, okay, let's do it. And so we partnered together. Uh, 30 Contemporary Gallery then became really, really honing and focused on figurative um, and representational art from around the world. And we started doing shows together and really put pretty much all our efforts online. Little did we
Yes.
know that the pandemic was coming. So, it was like perfect timing. We opened our RC account and we started really selling really well. We have right now over, I think, about 1,400 artworks listed from all kinds of artists. And we're, especially right now that there's no physical exhibits or anything, all our business is going online, through um, our mailing list, through our websites, through our marketing, and of course through Artsy.
You also have a lot of other projects in the social media, YouTube channel, the Art Academy. Can you talk about the Art Academy and the YouTube channel, please?
Yeah, so what happened, over the years as we were working with the gallery and working with so many artists and as a curator. So my wife, she's a psychologist, and we always kind of imagine, we wanted to start working together in some way. So we created 4 years ago a whole new program that we thought it would be really good to have, for artists from around the world, where we would combine all the wellness, right, the mental wellness kind of support, and also the business support, right? So there were a lot of programs that were all about business, 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 and just sell, sell, sell. But the artist life is more than that, right? It's not just sell, sell, sell. It's everything, everything, right? From how you feel in the inside, how do you uh, approach other people, how do you network, how you
Mindset.
all the other things that are also important. So we wanted to do a program that kind of looked at the artist's life in the whole gamut, not just the sales or not just the marketing or not just the one thing. And so we opened an online academy that's called the Art Next Level Academy. It's online. We are at theartistnextlevel.com. And so what we do is we started creating courses, and we created a membership community, and we started doing challenges too, of different things. And so it's been really exciting over the last 4 years, working with so many artists from around the world. And artists come and go. Sometimes they come in, they get trained of the things that they need, and then they go and do the thing. And sometimes they come back again. And we're always creating new things, and always looking at how the world is changing. So everything that we create is always relevant to what's happening right now. Like right now, we're doing a series that's called the Accelerator Program, where we're looking at how is the world changing and how we are adapting as artists, in all aspects, in our marketing, our sales, or wellness, or productivity, organization. And so that's kind of what we do. And we have a community that we meet inside of a Facebook group. We have weekly live Q&As through video. We also have other activities, so it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's something that I love doing because I'm a people person, so I love people.
Yeah, and you have that marketing side because you are always looking into the future, how we can improve, what we can do. As a curiosity, I decided to start this podcast. I was thinking about how can I get used to talk to a camera, because I felt the needed to when I was getting interviews and stuff. And then the pandemic was starting, and you launched a video that the message was, okay, you have to find new ways because galleries are going to pause, and you have to find new ways to get new network. And I said, okay, I think now it's a time, and I will try do one video for YouTube. And I did one, and I did the second one, and so on. So I have to thank you for the suggestion, the advice. And I think you are always looking in those aspects. You also have the YouTube channel and the Instagram IGTV, where you have the breakfast with Sergio, always helping artists and leaving advices. It's very good for people who are starting.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Yeah, breakfast with Sergio started 2.5 years ago, because I wanted to do a video show, a quick video show for everybody, for my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, that will be short, just 10 quick minutes max, and then just give some quick help. And but I was really busy, as we talked about. My schedule was full, so I'm like, well, I only have breakfast, and I usually have breakfast by myself because my wife is doing her workout at that time. So I'm like, well, so I just started with, I just put my phone on a tripod, and before I had my breakfast, I just clicked and started doing my videos, and then people liked them, and then they wanted more. So now it's been 271 episodes or so. And and just like you said, you make your first one. The first one is the hardest, right? And then you make your second and third, and like, well, maybe it's not so bad. But then you start looking back and like, well, maybe it's not so good. Maybe you start also having doubts, right? But you just have to believe that you're gonna get better as you go. And my first episodes, I was nervous. I would not do it right. Now I'm a lot more comfortable to anytime just head up on the camera, because
and I think we cannot take us so much seriously, because we are not doing anything very wrong. It's sometimes even my English, I just recently started doing the interviews in English, and sometimes I struggle expressing myself, but it's something we have to insist and not taking too seriously. Sergio, it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. It's all for today. Please like and subscribe the channel. I will leave Sergio links and contacts in the video description. Once again, Sergio, thank you so much, and everything will be better someday. I hope 2021 will be a better year. Stay well and stay safe. Sergio, bye. Thank you.